Happy Monday. I hope you all have had a fabulous weekend. For those of you that are new joining me, I'm Mary Knabe from Westerville, Ohio. I've been an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 12 and a half years, almost 13 in August. And I love my job more than ever before. Today, I'm going to be showing you an easel card, and these are really quite easy to make. So I'm excited to show you this. And as I make this easel card with you, I'll be showing you some brand new product coming to my Stampin' Up! Website on May 4th, which is a week from tomorrow. Before I show you today's project, I wanted to let you know that I have just announced a new class to go, and this one is on, where's my stamp set? I had the cards ready to show you, but not the stamp set. This one is using the stamp set See the Good, and I have had so much fun playing with this stamp set. So I'm excited to offer this class to go. With the class to go, you get, the cost is $45. You get $31 in Stampin' Up! Product. That's the stamp set, sponge daubers, and linen thread. And with the PDF tutorial, I'm going to be including a link to show you how to use the sponge daubers to blend colors on a single stamp. And you'll see what I mean when I show you some of these samples. But in that, you'll make 6 cards. Here's 2 of them. You can see they're very similar, just one horizontal and one vertical. Here's another. And you can see the variation in the greens here. Whoops, here. And I'll show you how to do that in that video link that comes with the tutorial. And it really is this sentiment that made me want to buy this stamp set. It says, when I see the good in the world, I see you. And I think that's just a nice sentiment to share with family, friends, coworkers, maybe even somebody you don't know real well, but has served you well, and just needs a little encouragement or push to stay positive in this often negative world. And here's the last one. Now, as you can see in the pairs here, there's some shading of the greens along the side, and that's what the sponge daubers are for in this class to go. And that's the reason I'm including a video link, because I want to demonstrate to you, number one, how to do that, and number two, how easy it really is. So I'm looking forward to people signing up for the See the Good class to go. I also have announced my in-color clubs. If you're somebody who loves to get all the newest and latest colors, and you love all the products in those colors, those 5 new colors, this is a good way. An in-color club is a good way to be able to get those things and have a nice collection of the in-color products, but not to break the bank by having to purchase them all at once. I spread it over a 5-month period. So 1 month you would get all of the products in a particular in-color, say soft succulent, and another month it would be polished pink. I also include, in addition to the product, I also include a hand stamp card using that color, and people who purchase the I Want It All in color club will also get a surprise in their packet. So there's 2 options, the basics and the I Want It All in color club. So you can check out that information on my blog, stampinpeace.com, or on the email newsletter I sent out yesterday about that. So who's ready for today's easel card project? I know I am. I always get excited when I get to meet up with you and share something fun. So let me flip my camera around. Looks like a few more people have joined us. Hi, Melissa and Joyce. Hi, Sharon Stackhouse. Katie Whitmer says she's ready. Awesome. Hi, Patricia and Lynn. So nice to have you all. Okay, so this is my easel card. And the reason it folds up flat, fits in our standard envelope, and the finished card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, like we typically make. The reason it's called an easel card is because it stands up like that, just like an easel. This one I haven't put a sentiment on, but you can see even when it stands up, you still have plenty of room to write your message here. And you could even include some kind of sentiment. You can even include a sentiment on the front if you like. Or in place of this flower, you do need something here that kind of catches the standing easel part of your card. And on this one, I just used a punch flower, but you could use a sentiment that's also popped up on dimensionals. Either way, you do need something here to help hold up that sentiment. And I don't know about you, but what do you think about putting a bow on there? Think about that. But we're going to move on now, and I will show you how to make this. And I'm also going to give you some tips on working with this builder punch. Alrighty. I'm going to set this aside for now. The bundle I'm using is Flowers of Friendship. I love all the sentiments. And it has a coordinating punch. And you can see it's a builder punch. Builder punch are the ones that cut out several pieces at once so that you can build an image. And I'll be showing some tricks for using that. Now, the first thing you need is a piece of cardstock cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches. So you'll get 2 out of 1 sheet of the 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. Then you're going to score this. Let me move my cutting blade out of the way. You're going to score this at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. You'll want to use your bone folder to make some nice creases there. That 2 3/4 inch score mark, you're going to fold the same direction. Okay, you see what I mean? They're folded the same direction, and that's what's going to create the easel. Pull out some of my pieces and parts here. I have cut a piece of 2 1/2 inch by 4 inch designer series paper, and I'm going to adhere that to that front flap, that bottom flap, or the easel part of the card. And just press it down nicely. Then I have a piece for the inside, and that's got a little, I don't know what that is in there. A piece of basic white that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches, our typically standard size for the inside of our cards. Good morning, Kathy. Julie says she's never made an easel card, been too intimidated. Let me tell you, this is so much easier than you think. You will no longer be intimidated after you see this demonstration and make one on your own. So now I'm going to just stamp the series of 7 flowers across the bottom here. Just like that. And these I'm actually going to fill in with the polished pink Stampin' Right marker. These are those in colors. I really love them. I was away on a craft weekend. Let's see, Thursday, Friday. Had to leave early Saturday for a family function. But while I was away on that weekend event, I had the opportunity to play with these 5 in colors. And the more I played with them, the more I enjoyed them, and I'm excited to be using them in projects to share with all of you. This color is called Polished Pink. We also have Pale Papaya, Fresh Freesia, Soft Succulent, which is this color of the cardstock I have for my base, and Evening Evergreen, that real dark, deep, rich green. And honestly, it does remind me of an evergreen tree or even a forest of evergreens, or going to the Christmas tree farm. So that's fun. And I think that will be a fabulous green for using at Christmas time as well. Good morning, Joyce. Thanks for joining us. All right, so I have that. And now I'm going to add it to the inside of my easel card. Remember, if you want to do any other stamping, you always want to stamp before you adhere it to the inside of your card, just to be on the safe side. Julie, I am too. It's really dark and deep and rich. I wasn't quite sure about it, but the more I've worked with it, I love it. I love it. So this is what I have so far on my easel card. This is what it looks like from the side view. Now I'm going to create that front. I need to push some of this out of the way. It just gets to be too much all over the place. Okay, now I'm going to use this large flower stamp, and I'm going to stamp the whole thing in Soft Succulent. Now, you know that if you want to use your Stampin' Right markers, you could color the flowers of the rubber stamp right on the rubber stamp, one color, and the leaves and stems another. But I'm going to be doing something different. So I'm just going to ink up the whole stamp. I don't want soft succulent flowers, but those will actually be covered up with cardstock flowers. I'm going to go ahead and put these layers together before I show you the next step. In the next step, I'm going to give you some tips for stamping all the pieces that can be cut with the builder punch and cut them all at once. It's a really fun, I think, a fun trick. And it involves using the stamparatus. So if some of you have the stamparatus, or you've never purchased the stamparatus because you're maybe not aware or comfortable with all the different things it can do, I will be showing you how to use it to help you with using your builder punches. Now I'm going to adhere this to the front. And remember the tip, you don't want any adhesive here, just on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is put adhesive near the bottom of that, and then the top of the piece I'm attaching it to. I'm just going to press this layer down, and I'm trying to center these layers in the whole card front. So this is what I have, and this is the side view. The layers here are let me think a second, 4 3/4. I better double check this. 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. Yes. 4 3/4 by 2 3/4 for the white. 4 3/8 by 3 7/8 for this evergreen color. And then my soft succulent measures 4 5/8? Yes, 4 5/8 by 3 1/8. And when I add this to my blog post, to make a blog post with this video in a few days, I will be sure that those are listed. So now I want to show you how we're going to decorate the front here. I have prepared my stamparatus. It looks like this right now. Can you have to wait? There's a little bit delay. I'm trying to wait to see how much of it I'm getting in the screen here. Okay, good. All right, so what I want to do is stamp these flowers and the leaves on cardstock, and then I'll punch them out all at once, one piece, and adhere them to the front. And yes, I will be cutting up those flowers a bit, but it's a fun thing to do. So to do that, what I've done is made a stencil. This piece measures 2 3/4 by 6 inches. I would say, okay, Julie, you say, do the layers help weigh down the flap so that the cardstock doesn't lift up? Well, you want it flat for folding. What's going to help your easel stay up in place is we're going to put something here that will catch the easel. And so you can put it way up here, you can put it down there, you can change the angle of it, but I will show you that. So I've taken a piece of 6 inch by 2 3/4, and the reason I cut 6 inches, obviously I don't need one that long, but if I were to put it right up here, when you stamp, it's harder to stamp evenly when it's right by the hinges. So if you stamp more in the center of your stamparatus, things work out better and more easily. So I've taken that piece of cardstock, slipped it in my punch, and punched it out, just like that. So this becomes my stencil. From there, and I'm already a step ahead because I've already placed my stamps, so I fit my rubber stamps into the flower places. Let me just start over. Oops. You know these snap together, right? I was lucky they didn't break. And I'll show you all 4 how I did that. So I have to think for a second. How did I have this placed? Okay. So what I'm going to do is just you kind of feel around until the rubber edges of your stamp catch the edges of the punched image. And remember, when you're working with the stamparatus, you typically want to do a practice before you do the actual stamping and on it. I don't think these matter too much. Now fitting the flowers on, these are going to be pretty close. You could also do this in 2 steps, but I'm going to keep it as 1 step and hope for the best. But that's all I'm doing, is just kind of moving around till I feel like they're sitting inside those edges of the cardstock. Just press it down and it picks up. And I understand, like I said, I might need to do an adjustment. The hardest part of this is those labels want to stick to my fingers. So I think I have it right and want to pull my fingers away and it kind of moves the stamp. So we're going to give this a try. So I'm going to take that away, and I did a test before. I pressed way too hard on the leaves, so you see they came out real thick, and I've got the edge there. And the other thing is I had the leaf backwards. I had that going the wrong direction. So I needed to make a change. So I'm just going to flip that over. You want to be sure your cardstock, when you take off the stencil, put your new piece of cardstock exactly where the other one was. So pay attention to that. I tend to work by the Stampin' Up! Logo, and I like to put my, most times put my bottom left corner of the cardstock right beside that logo in that square. So now I'm going to ink up my flowers with the polished pink ink. Looks good. And then I'm going to ink up the leaves with soft succulent. Press those down, try not to press too hard. Oh, much better than I did on my last trial. And then this is where the test comes in, to see if you need to make an adjustment of sorts. And oh, this looks really pretty good. I'm off just a little bit on that top one. Do you see that? How I've got more space here? And the outline of the large leaf is right at the top there. So what I'm going to do to fix that is, and again, this is a common thing when you're using the stamparatus and this method, to just need to alter one of the stamps a little bit. The other three seem to fit in actually very, very nicely. So I'm going to just try to adjust, ooh, and I don't know what I got on that. I'm going to try to adjust this just a little bit. It seemed like it was a little high, so I didn't have it quite within the edges of the cardstock. So let me try this again. And just to make it easier for you to see, I'm going to pull out another piece of white cardstock. And honestly, on that one where the top one's off just a little bit, I would go ahead and punch it and use those pieces. I might use this one for layering, or I might use only these three that were placed nicely and choose not to use that one, but then restamp. So now I'm going back to inking up the flowers. And then I'm going to ink up the leaves. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. So just do your best. I would like this one to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to go over that one again. I'm going to add some more ink to that small leaf. Just press down a little more. Oh, that's better. They match better. And now I'm ready to punch these out. There. And now you can see I made a little adjustment on that one stamp, and everything is matching up much better. So now I can leave all this in place, and I can make lots and lots and lots of these same cards. And hang on to that stencil. Maybe store it with your builder punch. because chances are you will use that again and again as long as you own that punch. Now, for this card, I actually used stamped on polished pink cardstock, and I want to do the same thing now and punch those out and use the flowers that way instead of using the white. Another option would be to color these with your Stampin' Right markers or color them with your blends. So that will be for another project, but that was basically just to show you this tip or technique of combining the stamparatus with the builder punches. But for this, I am going to stamp polished pink ink onto polished pink cardstock. And if you have scraps of paper, you can just, trying to find an example here, you can just kind of lay that and not go all the way over, and you can move it around and before you actually stamp on it. If you have smaller scraps that you want to use up, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to waste a whole lot of your cardstock. This is just for the sake of demonstration. I'm trying to, it's turned a little bit. What I think I need to do is just cut off the edge, bottom edge a little bit. I'm taking off a little bit of the bottom edge to make it fit and move a little more easily. There we go, much better. And now the flowers just fit in there so nicely. And I have that. I don't need pink leaves, so I'll just toss those. And now I also want to stamp some of the leaves in the soft succulent onto soft succulent cardstock. You can see I just used that scrap I had and moved it around, brought my stamping plate down, not all the way down because I'm not ready to stamp yet, but just so that I could see it's within the placement of where I need it. Ink up those stamps. Quick press. They look good. And now I'm ready to punch out my leaves. You can see they line up nicely where they should. Give it a squeeze. And there I have my leaves. Now, if I'm going to make this, oops, I can use this one, and actually cover up these white leaves, I'm going to stamp and punch again. And I'm assuming I have enough room on this scrap, but I'm going to check it out to be sure. Oops, let's see if I can turn it a little bit. Oh, see, I think that will work fine. If you're like me, you want to use every bit of cardstock and designer series paper that you can. No waste if possible. Just line it up in there. And you all know that with our punches, you can move it around and you just squeeze very, very slightly and it will hold your paper in place so you can double check that it's where you want it to be before you give the big squeeze. Sounds like giving a hug. Give me a squeeze, which I'm sure if you're like me, you're eager to do. Oh, you know, I should punch another pink one. I want a large pink just because I think I'm going to need Let me think about this. Yes, I do need, no, I don't. I have enough petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the small one is used for the small blossom there. I'm not going to clean this right now, so I'm just going to lay it like that. And we'll do my cleanup afterwards. So now let's get to the fun part of finishing up our card. I'm going to cut these petals off. Just going into the center like that, quick and easy, nothing fancy, no stress. Most important thing about crafting is please don't stress. This is meant to be fun, hopefully relaxing for you, a nice escape from your real life, we'll say, although I hope crafting is part of your real life always. So I had one flower, and then I had some petals left over from a large flower from when I made my sample card. I just want to make sure there's no funky edges, that they're smooth edges when I do the cutting. So for this technique, you will need one small flower and 1.5, but obviously you're going to cut Stampin' Punch 2 of the large flower blossoms. And then you're going to do Stampin' Punch the leaves twice. Now for this, I like to use my mini glue dots. To me, it just makes for easy placement. And I don't have to wait for glue to dry as I'm adding the various layers. You want to be sure that when you do this, you're just covering up. Oops, I don't know. Come on, move slightly, Mary. You're covering up the outlines of the flowers. So each one of these becomes a petal on these flower blossoms. And the layers really give it some very nice dimension. Not sure what I did with, oh, here I think, no. Well, we're going to put that one there. Sort of makes these flower blossoms pop off the card, which I like very much. You can see some of my petals might not be perfectly lined up, but they're lined up well. If you're making a bunch of the same cards and you like to use what I call the, no, I'm drawing a blank, assembly line style, something you can do is punch all these pieces and cut them and then just place them on your glue dots, just like that. So I've got 3 petals for each blossom. And then I'm going to do my leaves. Same thing, just one little glue dot will hold these nicely. And I have that. Now on my sample card, I showed you that I punched an extra flower and I have it popped up. Let me show you. I have it, can you see that? I have it popped up on a dimensional so that it holds the easel up. And then I've embellished with our, where are they? Oh, right in front of me. Then I've embellished with our in color jewels. And you get all 5 colors, 2 sizes, large and small, 10 of each. So I've added them there. Now it's time for me to create something to make this stand up and then embellish this card as well. I think this time we will stamp a sentiment and punch it out. Actually, I think I'm going to use this other one. Thank you for everything. Here's a tip. When you want to know if a stamp sentiment, just lay, if it's going to fit, you just lay it right on top of the punch and you can see how much space you have around. Easy peasy, right? None of the stamp and then try to figure out what punch it fits in. Grab a piece of scrap paper, a good size. Oh, well, when you don't, here, this one should work. And what do you think? Should I stamp that in polished pink or should I stamp it in soft succulent? Any preferences? Fran, thank you for joining me. So nice to have you. What do you think, ladies? Polished pink or soft succulent? Julie says, tough decision. You know, it really is. I'll go with the polished pink just because that's the one I saw first. Joyce Lutterbury agrees. Use the pink. So I stamp that. And what is this called? Timeless Label Punch, I think. One of my favorites for sentiments, actually. My ink pad is brand new and a little bit juicy, you can see. And I can put it on just like that. So I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. Popping it up on dimensionals is what will help your easel card stand up. So you can see it folds flat nicely, fits nicely in an envelope. It is not going to be too thick to send. And then you can stand it up like that. I believe I will have to look, but I believe that I have a little, a PDF with like a little message saying that this is an easel card, it stands up with a little drawing on it. So I will have to look for that, but I believe I have that. So that's just a nice little thing to do there. Okay, I used up most of my small embellishments. I was going to see how this pale papaya looks on that. Okay, not great. At least I don't think so. You might have a different opinion, which is perfectly fine. But I am going to use instead, where are my pearls? I haven't put everything away from my weekend, which is not good. I should always do that as soon as I get home. Because then I'm searching for things. I'm just going to use these little pearls to embellish my 7 little flowers here. Whoops, knock that out, please. What do you think of the easel card? Is this something you're willing to try? Now, I gave you a lot of extra information and a lot of extra tips, especially with using the builder punches with your stamparatus. So there was a whole lot going on here, but the very basics of the easel card, I'm sure that you got, and that's all good. And how about some bows? Do we need bows, ladies? These are the ones I've pulled out. Easel cards are always fun. I agree. Yes, Cindy, no problem. I know it's easy to lose track of time. I do that often, but certainly go back to the beginning of the video once we're finished, and you'll be able to get all the information you need to make these fun easel cards. So bows for sure, yes. Okay. Are we going with pink, or are we going with evergreen or soft succulent? I'm already in need of a second bolt of soft succulent. I was working on swaps and designing for classes and things this weekend, so I'm already running low on that one. But that's a good thing. That means I love it. You know, I'm not loving the bow. Oh, I kind of like the idea of the evergreen. It brings out some of those darker shades. Let's try that one. Oh, look, 2 of you said that. Just a little bow, nothing fancy. All of the in-color ribbons are this, I believe 3/8 inch, and it's sheer. I love the sheer ribbons. They're just easy to work with. You can, they're easy to tie bows. When you put the bows on your cards, because they're sheer, they don't add a lot of thickness to your cards, so good for mailing. One. I think the evergreen adds some, it's complementing the other colors, but adds a nice little bit of contrast that I think we need. And again, I will use my mini glue dots. Put this one here. One more. You can see even on this one where I used the flower to as the holder for the easel, I could still add a small sentiment along here. Stampin' Punch something to add. Be sure to comment and let me know what you think of this. Share, please. Even if once the live has ended, if you share, other people will have a chance to view and enjoy the video just like you. Somebody always says, Mary, you make such good bows. Well, first of all, I've been making a lot of bows for a lot of years. And second of all, they never turn out perfectly the first pull. So I just make sure that I just kind of play with my loops and my ends until I have it the size that I want. So that's the key to making good bows, just to play with those loops and ends until the bow is the size you want or the size that you need, whatever fits in your project. Okay, just like that. I was going to tell you too, another option down here is you could just use some nice size embellishments. The rhinestones are probably too small, but we now have those gold bumblebees. That could be a fun embellishment. The ladybugs, that would be a fun embellishment as well. I was looking to see if I have mine nearby. Nope. All right. I am going to give away this card. Thank you for everything. And I want to say to all of you, thank you for everything. I appreciate your support of my small business. And I can't wait to share more of our wonderful new products with you. If you joined after the video started, no problem. You can go right back to this site and view the video from today's dates, or you can also just click on the word media and then click video, and all of my Facebook Lives that I've done on this site will come up for you. I always post them to my YouTube channel and my blog, typically within a week of the original Facebook Live. And that would include supply list and things too. All right, somebody said, tell Stampin' Up. Please tell Stampin' Up we love the 3/8 inch sheer in every color. Oh, I am right there with you. That's the other thing. That 3/8 inch is perfect too. I love that. I don't know what, it's whether you need a small bow or a larger bow, the 3/8 inch always seems to work. So I'm right there with you, and I will pass that on. We have what we call the product sandbox, and demonstrators can go on there, and it sends our suggestions to the right committee or right department of Stampin' Up, because they do like to hear from us, both customers and demonstrators. All right, ladies, have a great week. I will see you Wednesday evening. My apologies. I only did Monday Facebook Live last week, but I ended up being invited to my niece's birthday on Wednesday evening, and then was gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's life, and that happens, but those are the things that really rejuvenate me. And of course, anytime I have the opportunity to spend time with family, I grab it if I can. So thank you for your understanding with that. Happy Monday. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.